why are INFJs and other highly sensitive people very controlling deep inside? And why are they often inflexible and rigid, whether they're doing this consciously or doing this without any conscious awareness? And how this is not necessarily the polar opposite of being the gentle, the kind, generous, and loving soul as you are. This subject is something I've never talked about in my channel, in my podcast, and I thought, wow, this just came up a few times lately in the conversations with other people like us, and I thought it's the highest time I made this episode, because it all relates to our mind-body construct and our energetic patterns that we develop, and it's a way of being, not just something we do. So let's get right into how this might look like first, so you can understand where it comes from. So the way the controlling tendency, the way this inflexibility and rigidity may manifest, it can be in small behaviors that don't seem like a controlling person would have. It could be a loving, very caring investment in your partner's self-development, to the extent that you're annoyed that your partner is not on the same self-development path that you are, and you are sending them videos from YouTube, you are sending them books, maybe giving them presents as books, or maybe you're giving them a course even to work on something that you think they should improve in their life. So this is very common. Now, it could manifest in other ways. It could be that you are working yourself to exhaustion and trying to prove your worth. Or maybe you're obsessing about something not being done, not being accomplished, such as you're looking for a job or you're looking for a new apartment or something like that. And you can't let yourself rest until you've done a ton of work. This is how the controlling nature also manifests. Or it could be perhaps that you are so invested in your entire family and friends groups that you are, again, giving everyone unsolicited advice. Or you want them to understand you so badly, and you can't just let things be. You just can't let them misunderstand something. So these are all kinds of ways that this can manifest, and there is way more. But I just wanted to give you a brief idea, especially if you are not fully embracing this trait, because this is also common. And if some of these examples sound true, if some of these sound familiar or is along the lines, you might be thinking to yourself, now, how is it possible that gentle people like us have these controlling traits? And maybe you are even feeling ashamed or battling with yourself, thinking that being sensitive, gentle, loving, kind, caring soul contradicts being controlling. And here I want you to know that it's time to stop beating yourself up if you've been doing this, because they are not polar opposites. In fact, one results from the other. Sensitive people are sensitive to all kinds of discordance, disharmony, something that causes them the slightest stress. And perhaps if you are a highly sensitive person, you feel stress of that person. When you are an empath, you know that they could improve on this behavior. Especially if you're INFJ or INFP, you could be seeing all kinds of ways that they are neglecting their potential, and they could flourish so much more if only they were working on themselves like you are. Now, I totally get this. This was part of my experience at some point. And I have to tell you, my life has become so much more liberated when I stopped doing this. But honestly, I couldn't stop doing this, and maybe you can't either, for as long as we don't have capacity in our bodies, our mind bodies, to be with all that stress and be with all that discordance and not having to change a thing. So you see, it all comes down to inability to stay present and contain the discomfort in the mind and body and energetic field, the discomfort of this discordance happening, of someone not fulfilling their potential, of someone not understanding you, of something being undone, of something not being accomplished. For as long as you will feel that urge, that reaction coming up in you to have to fix, to feel the responsibility of doing something for someone, for completing this task, even though it's normal that it takes months for it to accomplish, or it's normal it should take longer. But highly sensitive people and INFJs and all the introverted intuitives especially have very low patience, in that way that they have a lot of patience, but not energetically. They are wanting to will things into happening. And this is why people like us have to be controlling, at least for some stage or a long stage of your life, if you don't resolve this. Because control is what allows you to relieve that urgency that builds up, that tension that builds up. To fix something on the outside, there is a belief that comes from childhood that when we manipulate, when we control the environment, we will be safe, we will be at peace in some ways. And this is a habit that you've developed early on, that carries an imprint in your energetic patterns, in your mind-body construct, that if you want to be free from, you have to resolve on those levels. It's not something you can talk yourself out of. It's not something you can journal out of your head. You can try, and there is a lot you can do through understanding cognitively. That's why I share this education here, because it's the first step, and it brings our attention and our awareness into these times when we do it and we put ourselves in the place of choice. Now, if this topic is something you're interested in, these are all kinds of things I talk about in this channel, so definitely follow along, subscribe and like, and tell me about your experience with being inflexible, controlling, or rigid in all these ways. And definitely sign up to my newsletter, where I go deeper into some of those topics and where I offer solutions that happened to help me and my clients on this journey of changing our mind bodies to become more liberated, to become more authentic, to become more free and more of the version that we're supposed to be. So definitely sign up to my newsletter. I hope that was helpful. Thank you for listening, and speak to you soon.